All right. I think we're live. I think it's working. The microphone seems to be working now. I think there was an issue. I started a few minutes ago and had to restart. So, indirect versus direct. First off, still under the weather. So, apologies if I'm a little scratching my throat, clearing it, drinking. Also, new camera mount, some new stuff. So, still playing around. And this is fun. I'm digging my office. When I'm not streaming, I'm in here working, like having the lights on. I got a light behind my main monitor, and this is my secondary one. I got lights behind them. It's really cool. It like sets the mood. It sets this like office up like really, really chill. I like it. So I actually feel better in here now working. So even if that's all I get out of this, it's a win. Anyways, direct versus indirect. I remember when back in the day, like when the game came out, there was a big argument, debate, what's better? That never made sense to me because I was already going direct before I got married. I went direct, and that's how I got girlfriends. That's how I got my wife. So ex-wife, I should say. When the game came out and having like steps, it helped. And I think the biggest reason it helped was because it kind of clicked in my head that this is something that we can work on and improve. B, that there's like steps, but you can isolate different parts and then like focus on where you're weak. So I can remember when I first started out, I got tons of numbers, but then I would go and call and try to set up dates, and lots of them wouldn't turn into anything. Or a lot of times I wouldn't even get a phone call or a text back. So then I realized, I was like, oh, I'm messing up. It's not phone game I'm messing up on, because if I'm having trouble and I'm just throwing this number out there, like it's step 7, well, it's because I didn't do steps 1 through 6 well. Because if you do that well, step 7 should just fall in your lap. So that's where like this really catapulted, changed everything. Because I was like, oh, I can work on this. I can work on this piece. I can work on this piece. So the indirect way, and I don't want to get too much into like the history of both, but like hearing about it, where indirect was a big way of kind of protecting your ego, because I remember it being marketed, never get rejected by a woman again. And if you're not swinging for it, then you're not going to get, if you're not going for it and swinging for the fences, you're not going to get rejected. So I get that. But to me, that's not the correct solution, because if you're still worried about getting rejected, then there's deeper issues, deeper things you need to work on. So I didn't like that part of it. But to me, it's like the argument of old school UFC. What's better, stand up or grappling, like striking or grappling? Now that's not even like a debate anymore. You got to be good at both. But back in the day, that was like argued. Like when I did a couple cage fights with my old instructor, and he needed me to step up and help out and blah blah blah. Years ago, like I wasn't even old enough to get into a bar, but like we went and did some. They really were just like style versus style. So it was not even like it is today. That's why I don't brag about it too much, because like I went against a jiu-jitsu guy. We just did jiu-jitsu. So the style versus style, like grappling, which one's better, that's the old mindset. And so by then, that question had already been answered, like, oh, you need both. But in pickup, there were still guys arguing which one's better. I remember going to one seminar, and a pretty well-known speaker's up there, and he's like, indirect is for boys, direct is for men. Men go direct. And I get his point, but I disagreed with it. And then later I was at another event, and another coach was up there just shitting all over anyone who goes indirect. And I go indirect from time to time. And so afterwards, he actually was talking to me, because I went solo and I was making it. And a lot of guys get into this stuff and try to make it work, and they just can't. But I remember he was asking me, he's like, hey, Bravo. He's like, I really want to do what you're doing. I want to teach. I want to have like my own company. Do you have any advice? And anytime anyone loads me up for a question where I'm going to give them some feedback that might hurt their feelings, I always ask them twice. I go, are you sure you want me to tell you the truth? Because this might hurt your feelings. This might sting. And they go, yes. And I go, you said yes, but are you sure? Because this might hurt. I always double check. Maybe I don't go that hardcore, but I go, are you sure? Do you really want me to tell you the truth? And they go, yes. I go, are you sure? Because this might sting. Yes. And then I gave it to him. So I told him, I go, well, you're not good enough to teach yet. And he was kind of shocked when I said that. And now that I think about it all these years later, he didn't never really taught again. So maybe that was too much. Maybe I should have kind of helped him a little more. But anyways, I told him, I was like, oh, you're not good enough to teach. He's like, well, why do you say that? And I go, well, you're on stage shitting on Indirect. I'm like, you don't even know like why Indirect's a bad thing. You're like misdirecting it. You weren't saying like the right, like you don't even here, let me, and this is exactly the conversation. I was like, here, let me ask you this. Like, what is indirect? What's the difference between direct and indirect? And this is the question I ask every new student on phone coaching, one-on-one, because I want to make sure we're like thinking, I want to make sure they're thinking correctly the same way as I do, is when I'm trying to install this information. So I always go, what's the difference between direct and indirect? Define them. And so he's like, well, indirect is you're being sneaky and you're not really telling the girl the truth and you're being like around the bush with it and dishonest. And then direct, you're being like direct with her. And I'm like, not exactly. So direct is when I see a woman, I'm interested in her, I'm sexually attracted to her, I think she's attractive, got a good vibe from her, getting a good feeling, got butterflies in my stomach, which to me was always like my sonar. When I get that feeling, I'm like, I don't run from it. I go, why am I feeling this? I need to go find out. I need to go explore. That's like my sonar. I get like a ping and I'm like, oh, I gotta go find out what this is about. So very weird how a lot of guys get scared of that and run away. Whereas that's really whatever you believe in, energy, DNA, evolution, higher power, karma, like any of that true love, there's energy, something going on. And when I feel that, that's when I go in. I can't not go in when I felt that. That became my mindset. But anyways, going direct, like I'm already into the girl. I'm already thinking she's attractive. I already thought she's beautiful. I want to go hit on her. So I go up and start hitting on her. And so you're the man, you are showing sexual interest or just romantic interest, however you want to quantify it. You're showing interest first. As a Harley races by, you're showing interest first when you go direct. So indirect is when you go and approach the woman and then do something crazy. I know you treat her like a human being and have a conversation with her. Wow, what a crazy concept. And even though I might be into her, maybe I'm a little into her, maybe I'm a lot into her, but like I want to find out more. But also I'm not putting that out there right away. So I just open up maybe with something indirect, nothing like no statements of intent. I'm just asking her a question. I noticed something about what she's wearing. I'm asking her for advice or feedback, whatever it is, situational, whatever. So I talk to her, and as I'm talking to her, being a DHV man, demonstrating higher value, like DHVs just naturally come out, and they're either verbal or nonverbal. And it's either like what I say, how I say it, how I carry myself, how I look, eye contact, vocal tonality, vocal projection, body language, fashion, physical shape, all that stuff, eye contact, all those things are helping you out. And you could also think of it as like passive DHVs or active DHVs if you want to get like video game. So thinking about that with that's naturally occurring. She's getting a chance, an opportunity to get to know me for more than just a fraction of a second. And then she actually starts kind of going, oh, this guy's cool. I'm digging this guy. And she starts putting it out there, that energy. And then once I'm feeling that, then I reciprocate. So with that all explained very simply, direct, I show interest first. Indirect, she shows it first. Okay. So if you don't know the difference, how can you shit on one over the other? So that's what I told the coach. I was like, you don't even know the difference. You're shitting on it. Like, I use indirect a lot. And when I'm teaching and working with students, like I said earlier, sometimes you need to isolate little pieces of it. Well, if you go direct, you don't get a chance to kind of work that section or that area that you need to improve. So indirect's great for that. And also you have to remember, it's just like us when we're leaving the grocery store and some dirty looking homeless guy comes up. He's like, hey, excuse me, real quick, can I? And you're like, no, I don't have any change. And you're used to a pattern. Dirty looking, disheveled guy coming up asking you if you have a second or real quick. Like you assume he's asking for money. So then you're like, no, I don't have any. And you just instantly like, no, I don't have time for this. So when you go direct with women, they don't know you, they don't know who you are, but they've been hit on maybe hundreds or thousands of times by douchebags, right? So what happens is that's like a pattern. So they go, I've been hit on by 100 douchebags in the last 2 months. This guy's coming at me the same way. Hey, beautiful, real quick. Oh my God, you're so pretty. I had to come over. And she's like, nope, thanks. I have a boyfriend. Same thing we do with dirty homeless guys, right? And then, like, if the dirty homeless guy was like, oh, hey, real quick, no, you dropped your phone. Here it is. And you're like, oh shit, thanks. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, you'd feel bad. But unless you have something like that good to come right back, like you're already done because she's already made up that her mind and run that pattern. So direct can come back to bite you. But going back to martial arts, the right move at the right time. You should be good at both. What about if I'm walking down the sidewalk and this girl's getting ready to walk into or for me, one of my field reports, the girl's leaving the grocery store. We're outside in the parking lot. She has groceries. I have groceries. Like, I don't have 5, 10, 15 minutes to sit there and talk to her. Also, she had like NyQuil and Dayquil and stuff, and she was sick. And it's a dark parking lot, and I'm dressed all in black. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I just started jujitsu again. My shirt's all stretched out. My hair's messed up, and I'm looking like a homeless guy. So you don't have 10, 15 minutes sometimes. You got to go fast. The girl's at work. There's a line. You're in subway. You only have like a minute or two. So you're really, the way I think about it, you're really working under whatever the time constraint is. If I have like no time, I'm going very direct. If I have a little bit of time, maybe I'm playing around a little first, just a little. If I have a lot more time, like let's say she's a hired gun and she's a waitress or bartender and I keep seeing her, or she's a friend of a friend and I keep seeing her, then I got a lot more time. I can charm her and give her the opportunity to observe like my personality and my energy and see if it resonates, right? So anyways, direct versus indirect. Direct, I convey interest first. Indirect, she conveys it first. I'm already into her. I'm just haven't conveyed it yet. So right move at the right time. I just moved to LA and I'm in Target, and all the places I had before that I lived in, like apartments, houses, and stuff. I don't know if it's an Arizona thing, but they all had sliding glass doors for the shower, or they had like it was a walk-in shower at a lot of the places. So I had never had an apartment where the bathroom had like a shower rod. That's just never had it. Or at least I should say, like I was a kid and had it, but I never bought the stuff. So I'm in Target. I gotta buy the stuff to make my shower work. And I don't know. So I'm in the aisle looking around. Really hot girl over there. She's with her mom. I hear him talking. She's getting a dorm. They're setting up her dorm because she's going to whatever college the big one is in California, in near LA, whatever it is. And UCLA. I don't know. Anyways, I hear him talking. She's moving out there. So I'm like, okay, I know. She's like a college girl. I'm in my 20s. I'm like, okay, that's fine. A, I need help. But B, I don't want to go direct like with her mom there because that can make both of them feel uncomfortable, right? So I go up to the attractive college girl and I go, hey, real quick, I got a question for you. And I could tell. And this is when you know this, you can play with it, state breaks. I can tell she thinks I'm going to hit on her. And so she's like starting to get a little like turned off a little bit with her body language before I'm even finishing the sentence. And I go, and this is one of my favorite things to do is a state break where I can get more into those later. But you start doing one thing, they think it's going one way, like the dirty homeless guy, and then boom, it's something different, and then it catches them off guard. So I love those moments. So I go, hey, real quick, I got a question for you. Start getting that little recoiling energy from her, and I go, I hear your mom helping you shop. I was wondering, can I borrow her for a second? I have like a mom question. And then her body language relaxed and she laughs and she's like, oh yeah, sure, go for it. So I turn to the mom and I go, hey mom, real quick. So calling her mom, falls time constraint too, but it's actually a real time constraint. Real quick. And I go, I'm from Arizona. I just moved out here. I've never had to shower like with a shower rod before. So like I need to get a curtain, but we're in the section of all that stuff, and they're buying it. And I was like, I don't know what to get. I've always had like walk-in showers. My old house like was a walk-in, so little DHVs there. Just moved out here, so I'm giving a little bit of a painting in the picture. And the mom laughs and she goes, Yeah, actually, we were just buying the stuff for her. Here, I can help you. What do you have there? And I was like, I already have a rod. She goes, okay, well, you need hooks, and then here's the different types, blah, 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 blah. You need a liner, and then you need the curtain. And I was like, why do I need both? Well, you don't want to have one. You got to get, and she's explaining there's different ones with like magnets in them. So she's going over like the difference. I'm actually learning all this stuff about it. I really appreciate it. Along this journey, I joke with her. I asked the daughter, "Oh, did you just move out? Are you moving out here too?" Blah blah blah. Now I'm building some comfort with both of them, all three of us. And then after I get the stuff I need and pull it off, I'm like, okay. I think I'll go with these. I'll go with the hooks. They're cheaper. I'll just try it out. Blah blah blah. Get all the stuff. I go, hey mom. I go, now I got a question for you. I go, I just moved out here. I don't really know anyone yet. Your daughter, we've been talking for several minutes. Found out what she's going to school for, the sport she's playing. She got like a scholarship. And I go, I don't really know anyone out here yet. Your daughter seems really awesome. And she smiles and she's like, she is. And I go, I think I was going to hit on her. So if that's cool, if you can give me a second, I was going to hit on your daughter real quick. And she laughs and goes, oh, yeah, go for it. I got to go in the next aisle anyways. So she goes over there, starts grabbing some towels or something. And then I turn to the daughter and then we start laughing and joking and number close. So would you want to go direct in front of her mom? No, I've done that at a bar once in Arizona too, where it was a brother and sister, and then super cool, super chill. I asked the guy too. I'm like, hey, your girlfriend's really cool, man. You guys have like a weird, and as I'm saying, like this is something I always say to let them know I'm not hitting on them. Like, you guys, your girlfriend. Always assume the respect, because then the guys don't get as angry if they think you're hitting on them. If you pretend like you think it's the girlfriend, they're like, cool. They're cooler with you. But lots of times they're not dating, but you just pretend that you think they are. And then later when you hit on her, they're cool with it because you were cool to them. So it's like prison. You give respect, then you get respect. So anyways, I was starting to say it to this one guy. Him and the girl started laughing. They go, we're not boyfriend, girlfriend. We're brother and sister. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense now. You guys have this weird dynamic. I couldn't figure out like why you guys were joking that way, but okay, now I see it. Oh, now I see the resemblance, and they're laughing. And then several minutes later, talking to everyone else, talk to the brother. I go, hey man, I don't know if this is crossing the line or not. I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but your sister seems pretty awesome. I was thinking about asking for a number, and the guy laughed. He goes, dude, you should do it. You're really cool. I'd love for her to date a guy like you. Her last boyfriend was like a douchebag. Like, you totally should go for it. I was like, oh, cool. Thanks. I guess I will. So now I have the brother like encouraging me to do it, and he's on my side. So if you go direct, that's probably not going to happen, where the mom or the brother or whoever's cool with it, the friends, a lot of times they get into protection mode too. So direct versus indirect, the right move at the right time. The other old UFC MMA analogy was what's better, offense, defense, standing, grapple, all those different ways, but the right move at the right time. Mike Tyson had like a great uppercut. Is he not going to win with a jab in round 2 so he can win with an uppercut in round 12? Like, no. If a jab's going to work, use the jab. If uppercut's going to work, use that. So indirect, direct, you should get good at both. And the right move at the right time, and that comes from experience, calibration. And the other thing I noticed is the guys who convey more confidence, more energy, are better looking, then obviously they can go a lot more direct because they're conveying those passive DHVs. The guys that don't, the shorter guys, the more overweight guys, the guys that aren't as good looking, not that I'm a male model or anything at all, but I think my confidence really helped me a ton in my ability to talk and joke around and be unfazed. I think that might have been like my superpowers when it came to this stuff. But the guys who don't have that going for them, then that's where going indirect works very well for them, because it gives them a longer time period to convey more of their personality and to DHV and all that. So both are great. Both are awesome. I use them both, but I've never had anyone who I've ever talked to, including, like I said, other coaches, multiple other coaches, ever define it to where I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I had to figure out what the difference is. And to me, that's what it is. And never heard anyone else talk about it. Never heard anyone else share this. I've only heard people argue that their way is the best way. But that's also short-sighted, because my way being the best way, well, right now that might be the case, But tomorrow, again, girl walking down the sidewalk, I have seconds. I've done this when I'm leaving the bar and the club bar and I'm leaving and the girl's going in. I'm like, oh, where were you? I was waiting all night for you. She goes, oh, sorry, I just got here. Cool, give me your number so I can call you later and hit on you. Okay, get a phone number. Like I've done that tons of times. That's one of my, oh my, I'm in a rush. Hey, give me your number. I'll hit on you later. Okay, very direct, number closed. I'm gonna hit on you later. So I love going direct, but right move at the right time. And sometimes it's not just my right time, it's her right time. So she could be going through some stuff. She could have something on her head, like in her on her mind. And that makes it more difficult because she's not receptive to it. She's not in that state. So I might have to talk to her for a few minutes. I might have to make her feel she might be really stressed. She had a bad day at work. I might need to get her mind off of it and joke around and steer the conversation and the energy in the way that's going to be most beneficial to all of us. And so that might be the way. And then I might not even go indirect because I'm not really even hitting on her or anything. I'm just joking around and joking with the bartender, joking with this person, joking with her, including her in the circle. And then after she goes, oh, this guy's actually cool. He's giving me a good vibe. Then when she laughs, I go, wow, you have a beautiful laugh. You know what? I was just joking around earlier with everyone, but I think I have to hit on you. And then taking it from there. So, like I said, indirect versus direct, argued about, books written about, seminars people paid lots of money to go to, where guys trash on it on stage. And then the next guest speaker comes up and then teaches you indirect, which is another thing I never liked, where like they have all these different guest speakers and everyone's like arguing and giving you different advice. It's never been like a good formula for guys trying to learn. Same thing when you like martial arts and you go to like a seminar and they have multiple different instructors and they kind of teach counterpoints, or they kind of, one guy says A, one guy says B, one guy says C, and they're all contradicting each other. Like that's where do you go? So another little tip is like, if you're trying to learn this stuff, kind of focus on like one thing at a time, get good at that, and then add another tool to your toolbox. Get good at that. Get good at indirect, get good at direct, get good at phone game, get good at online, get good at club game, get good at day game, all that stuff, because you're practicing and getting ready for when you meet the girl that you're really, really into. And so you got to be ready for that moment. And you might meet her at the grocery store. You might meet her at 11 o'clock at night in the grocery store and be sweaty and stinky. You might meet her during the day at the mall. You might meet her while she's at work and you're at work. So I'd have to navigate those waters with HR and all that at the time. I don't have to deal with that myself, but if I was a regular guy, I would. Maybe she was with her friends and family. So I have to win over other people around her. So they're like, oh, he's a cool dude. I want her friends. I want the people that she's around when I met her. Like when they're all in the car, when they're heading out, when they're going to another place, or when they're talking on the phone later. Like I want those people going, oh, what happened with that guy? Oh, he was really cool. Yeah, I got a good vibe from him. You should talk to him. Like I want them rooting for me, because that's going to help me later. So like, why wouldn't I want them on my side versus them not liking me? And then her friends going, oh yeah, that guy was a dick. Like, oh, fuck that guy. Oh, you didn't see him? Oh man, me and Heather think he's creepy, which if you get called creepy, it's like the worst thing. So yeah, I want them all on my side. So why, like, learning how to navigate those waters and win over a group of people, guys, girls, all that, family members, like all stuff I wanted to be good at. So when I met a woman I really dug, I was ready. And then that's what happened. And then my mindset later, and this is when I stopped being any of the PUA stuff, stopped using Bravo PUA, the website and everything. Because so much of the PUA stuff was just garbage and dirt bags involved with it. But also I realized I was like, I'm not a PUA. I got married when I was like 23. Like, yeah, I dated, had some fun after my divorce, but after that, I was like always looking for a girlfriend, which turned into one of my favorite online dating app like headlines, or first line on my About Me, which is currently accepting girlfriend applications. Because that's my mindset when I was single. It's like, I'm looking for a girlfriend. And then the girlfriend, I'm hoping it goes to something even more epic. So that was my goal. And it's okay to do that and have fun while you're looking. And now I'm married and have a family and have a kid. So it all worked out. Anyways, wanted to share that with you tonight. I'm going to bounce. I see there's someone here. So thanks for hopping on. And any questions, feel free to post. Also, my Discord. I see that this is alerting the guys in there. So if any of you guys on Discord have questions too, you guys know you can always post in there and ask me. So have a good night, guys.